Hi everyone and welcome. I am Sparrowvania and this is my first ever YouTube video. I'm a little nerve-wracked, but I'm hoping I'll do alright. Today I wanted to talk some about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, which was aired just a couple of days ago. To mixed receptions online, to say the least. There's lots of angry people, there's lots of happy people. I'm somewhere in the middle of those two camps. I'm happy that the console is coming. I'm just questioning a lot of Nintendo's decisions, like their lackluster launch lineup. Nintendo themselves are only releasing one new game for the Switch 2 at launch. The rest seems to be remasters, Nintendo Switch 2 editions, or older games. There's some pretty aggressive pricing with both the console and the games themselves. The games will cost up to $90 per game, and the console then itself is also pretty expensive. But even the remasters or the Switch 2 editions of games that already exists to the Switch 1 is gonna cost $90 for the Switch 2, which I really don't understand why. For us who already owns the Switch 1 version, we can buy a cheaper upgrade pack for it for like $10 or $20. But for people buying the game for the first time, even if it's an older game, it's gonna cost $90, and that's a lot for an older game. The console itself has up to 4K resolution and somewhere in between 30 to 120 FPS, which to me is completely fine. I'm not that picky. I would be happy with 1080p 60 FPS, but this is great as well. Sadly, not all Switch games are compatible with the Switch 2. They released a list with the compatible games, and the majority of the Switch games are compatible. Some are compatible but with issues, and a few games are simply not compatible at all, which is surprising to see. The game covers, though, I really don't like the game covers. There's a big fat banner on top of the game cover, and they've shrunk the actual cover art for reasons unknown. To me, it kind of seems like they're ushering out physical media, like they're trying to point us in a direction where we stop buying physical media. I do like that the backs of the game covers are now with full art. So when they're standing like this, I'm gonna see like art on the backs instead of just red, which is a welcome feature, but still, I don't like the big red label on top. The cards with downloadable codes on them, instead of releasing empty boxes with a downloadable code like this to the Switch 1, they're releasing basically an empty box with an empty cart with only a downloadable code on it or a key for an eShop download. This also, to me, seems like they're trying to usher out physical media. And I mean, as you can see, I love physical media. I would love to collect Switch 2 games, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to do that with $90 a game. The console releases June 5th, which is great. I and many others didn't expect it to release so soon. I expected it to release maybe in autumn or maybe in winter, but it's coming out in just a few months, and that's great, albeit with a lackluster launch lineup. They also revealed the new C button for the controller, which to me is kind of weird. It's kind of a Netflix button. The C button will function as a voice chat button. The C button will open up a voice chat interface where you can invite people to talk while playing games. And again, to me, this is I am not the target audience for the C button. I play games with a few of my friends over Discord or with my partner on the couch. So the voice chat button is not going to be used much for me. Unsure how it's going to work. because if we're able to talk with strangers through this voice chat option, that may turn happy Nintendo games toxic, and I don't want that. I thought it was a brilliant idea from Nintendo with the Switch 1 to just block every kind of communication with other players during gameplay. No voice chat, no text. That lowers that toxicity. They showed us Mario Kart World, and to me, Mario Kart World looks amazing. I really think the open world multiplayer could reignite my love for the franchise. Personally, I've thought lately that the Mario Kart franchise has grown quite stale. The only time I play it is like when you're having a beer with a mate, or you're playing something with your partner. But it's not a game I actually put time and effort into. But with the open world multiplayer in Mario Kart World, it does seem like I'm gonna put some time into it finally. I just hope there's lots of unlockables, stuff to explore, mini games to uncover and complete. I think this game could be great. I just hope Nintendo makes all the right decisions with this one. They also revealed Donkey Kong Bonanza, which releases a month after the console, and I think that looks super fun. It seems to be an action-packed platformer. What I don't really like about it, though, is how it still looks like it's a Switch 1 game. It looks like basically the Breath of the Wild environment. I suspect it's the same engine as Breath of the Wild, just an updated version of it. From the trailer itself, it looks like a big open hub Donkey Kong game. And the last 3D Donkey Kong game was for the Nintendo 64. So, I mean, a lot of time has passed since the 3D Donkey Kong game. They also showed Metroid Prime 4, which will release both for the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. And of course, the Switch 2 will have an upgraded version of the same game. And we finally got some Silksong news. Well, I mean, not really, but we didn't get any new trailer or any new substantial information. But for a few seconds in the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, we could see Silksong 2025 fly past the screen, and that's the first confirmation we've gotten of any sort of release window for the Silksong game. And for those who don't know, Silksong is the sequel to the classic Hollow Knight, which also released on the Nintendo Switch 1. I have a collector's edition of it up here. Great game, and I'm really looking forward to Silksong, so it was a joy to see 2025 fly past the screen. Silksong developers has been quiet for quite a while now, since the first trailer I think we saw a couple of years back or more. And then From Software showed a trailer which probably made a lot of people scratch their heads. Duskbloods, releasing exclusively for the Nintendo Switch 2, directed by Miyazaki. Now, when the trailer first aired, I was convinced it was Bloodborne 2. It has the Bloodborne aesthetic, it has the Bloodborne bodies, it has the Bloodborne aura around it. But since Sony owns the Bloodborne IP, it would be impossible for it to release exclusively on the Nintendo Switch 2. And this isn't Bloodborne 2, but it's kind of Bloodborne 2. But Duskbloods is a multiplayer Bloodborne, basically, which looks great. You're playing a vampire, doing vampire things in a Bloodborne world. Looks to be very similar environments, both the towns and the castles, and everything seems very reminiscent of the Bloodborne game. We also saw a trailer for the new Hyrule Warriors game, Age of Imprisonment, which to me looks fantastic. It looks like we're finally gonna be able to play as Zelda from Tears of the Kingdom, and also some of the other big characters from Tears of the Kingdom. It looks awesome. I hope it runs well on the Switch too, because the last Hyrule Warriors game did not run very well on the Switch one, so I kind of passed on it. I did love the first Hyrule Warriors game though for the Switch, before the Breath of the Wild one. Another super cool thing, which has me worried, but also it's great. F-Zero GX and Wind Waker are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass. And that's great, we finally get to play it again on a new hardware, but does this mean that they're giving up on remastering the games? And I mean, where is the Wind Waker HD remaster, which was released on the Wii U? Would much rather see that version on the Switch or the Switch 2, but we're getting GameCube emulated versions of both Wind Waker and F-Zero, amongst other GameCube titles, for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pass. The F-Zero GX game is gonna have online capabilities. We're finally gonna be able to play this game online versus other players or friends or family, which is awesome. And the F-Zero games are amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that. Nintendo is gonna release Switch 2 editions of Switch 1 games, which basically means they're gonna release a Switch 1 game with small upgrades. Some games are gonna get graphical upgrades, some games are gonna get contents, some games are gonna get both of those things. But the Switch 2 editions are basically tiny remasters. But the Switch 2 edition seems to be just the Switch 1 game with a download code for the upgrade. What I think is amazing with the Switch 2 editions of the Switch 1 games, especially the Tears of the Kingdom game for the Switch 2, we are now going to be able to share our creations in Tears of the Kingdom. And I mean, come on, there's so many people doing so much cool shit in Tears of the Kingdom, and now we'll just be able to download their creations from an online library, and that to me is pretty awesome. I'm really looking forward to that, to try out people's creations and to create some myself. They also finally announced the mouse features for the controllers, and this thing I really like. I think I'm gonna use this quite a lot for different kinds of games. This also opens up for Nintendo to produce and sell tiny mouse pads with some Nintendo artwork on them, and I think that's awesome. And I could imagine playing like Civilization with this, maybe some first-person shooters or puzzles in a Zelda game. I think the mouse thing is genius. Not everyone agrees with me, but Nintendo is gonna Nintendo, and they're gonna want something new with their new console, and not just a Switch Pro, which the Switch 2 is pretty much a Switch Pro. Anyway, I will be there day one. I would be there day one even if Nintendo wouldn't release any new game for the Switch 2, because I just want to play my Switch 1 games on new hardware. But I can see why many people would ignore this launch, because I mean, you kind of have to really love Mario Kart to be here day one for the Switch 2. But anyway, let me know what you think. Are you gonna be there day one? What games are you getting? I am definitely getting Mario Kart, so I'm hoping to see some people online on day one. Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. It would help out my channel a lot. As I said, this is my first video, but I'm hoping to make many, many more. So until then, take care.